Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and today is time for Once Upon a TBR Hunny Jar round 26, which is picking my reads for May. Of course, this is my favorite video to do every month. I love seeing what I'm going to be reading, and yeah, I have some books I definitely want to get to or need to get to, and we'll of course talk about those at the end if I'm not able to get them on my TBR game. But first we need to see what series we're going to be continuing. I haven't finished any, so I haven't been able to add any of the new ones yet, but I am making progress on some, which is always a great feeling. And so yeah, let's see which ones we get here. So we'll do this one and try to grab it. It keeps slithering away from me. And so the first series we're going to be continuing to work on, or starting. Oh, yes. This will finish out a series for me. And so that is the Skullments trilogy by Naomi Novik. I'm up to the last book in that one, which is the Golden Enclaves. So that one will not be going back in the jar unless for some reason I don't finish it in May. And then it will go back in. And then let's do this one. Let's see what we got here. So this one is awesome. Okay, so this is The Life of a Cactus duology by Dusty Bowling. I'm supposed to read the first one in April, which when I'm filming, I always film about a month in advance. So we're on April 1st, April Fool's Day. So I haven't read the first one yet, but this will be nice because I can read them back to back and get this series completed too, which means I'll be able to add 2 more series into the jar. So that is 2 great picks. If I'm able to work these into my gameplay, I definitely will. Otherwise, they will just be extras on top. But yeah, those are great picks. I'm really happy with that. And Life of a Cactus is a middle grade series, so that's perfect. And the Golden Enclaves, I think it's classified as YA, and they read really quick regardless. So yeah, so that will be perfect. I'm super excited about that. I did complete my March TBR, which was so fantastic. So I did earn another reward token. So we now have 2 of these we can use. This allows me to either forego a honey jar prompt, or this year I'm just kind of playing it loose, and just kind of going with what I feel like. So if I think of another reward to use this for, like, I will. But right now, that's kind of the main thing I use it for, is to just forego a honey jar prompt if I so choose. And so yeah, I have 2 of these now. I don't think there's anything else I need to talk about. Like I said, any of the books that I'm hoping to get on, or that I need to get on, I'll talk about at the end if I'm not able to. And so let me get you guys turned around, get the game board all set up, and we'll see what we're pulling. Of course, if you haven't caught a TBR Honey Jar in a while, this year or for the next few months, I am not going to be putting any of the prompts back in unless I don't fulfill them, because I normally put the bookworms back in, but I really want to make sure I go through all of the prompts, and so I'm just going to keep leaving everything out, bookworms included, until I've gone through all the prompts, and then all the ones will go back in. But I just want to make sure I hit every prompt at least once. And so yeah, I was going to add more back in because we're getting kind of low, but I want to make sure I hit every prompt once. So there's no bookworms to go back in because I fulfilled everything I needed to. And so yeah, that's about it. So let me get you, like I said, game board set up, you turned around, and we'll get into gameplay. Alright, so we do have our 2 reward tokens. We need to use them. Just a reminder, our main focus is the honey jar prompts, but we do have different genres for the different colors, which we want to try to get. So blue is sci-fi, yellow is historical, green is fantasy, red is romance, orange is mystery, thriller, horror. Purple is actually any genre, and it's a completely free pick. We do not need to pull a honey jar prompt this year. And then if we land on black, we move forward 3 spaces, And we use that genre for whatever color that is, and we also have to pull 2 Hunny Jar prompts. Then we have our character. So last month we rolled Owl, I believe. So if we roll Owl again, we can re-roll. Otherwise, 1 is Christopher Robin, which is a coming of age or middle grade. 2 is Pooh Bear, which is classic or comfort read. 3 is Piglet, which is an auto-buy author or a reread. 4 is Rabbit, which is a free choice. 5 is Owl, which is memoir, biography, or any type of nonfiction. 6 is Tigger, which is lighthearted or fast-paced. 7 is Eeyore, which is literary or dystopian. And 8 is Kinga and Rue, which is a manga, graphic novel, or children's book. So let's go ahead and roll and see which character we're going to get. Shake it up real good. 2. That is a Pooh Bear, which makes me very happy. So again, a classic or a comfort read is Pooh Bear's prompt. Let me get him up front here, and we'll get to pulling. All right, let's see what we're getting. And again, just another reminder, or if you're new here, I moved 2 spaces for every color except purple or black. And yeah, let's go ahead and get right on into it. We'll do this one. Okay, nice. So a purple. We're starting off good with a completely free pick. I don't need to pull a Hunny Jar prompt for that. Let's go ahead and just go right into number 2. Pull number 2. This one. Okay, we have an orange, which is 1 and 2. And this says Christopher or Pooh to next yellow. And since we are playing Pooh, that is a special square. We get to go right here. And so that means I don't have to worry about the genre at all. But we do need to fulfill the prompt of... Let's do this one. Okay, matches top. All right. Let's see here. Let's do this one. Okay, we got a yellow, which is 1 and 2. So a historical that fulfills the prompt of... Let's do this one. Ooh, so this is Alice in Wonderland. And the prompt is... Sorry, it doesn't want to focus there. There it goes. Oh, my phone's freaking out. The prompt is White Rabbit, though. I think you got it for a moment. White Rabbit. All right. Next up, let's see what we get. Do this one. Okay, nice. A blue, which goes 1 and 2. So this one needs to try to be a sci-fi that fulfills the prompt of... Let's do this one. Okay. So it's Al, and it's I Can Read an ABC book. So basically a random letter for the book title. All right. Next, let's do... It's had 2. All right, we have another orange, which goes 1 and 2. So another mystery, thriller, or horror that fulfills the prompt of... Let's go right here. Okay, so this one is a fairy tale retelling, so I might not be able to do the mystery, thriller, or horror route. We'll just have to see. All right, up next, let's see what we're gonna get. This one. Okay, another orange. We're liking those oranges today. So 1 and 2. So another mystery, thriller, or horror. This one needs to fulfill the prompt as... Oh, okay. It's Beauty and the Beast, and it needs to have a close paternal relationship. All right. Moving right along here. Do this one. Okay, we got a black. So we go here, and then 1, 2, 3, which is a purple. So I'm still going to pull the 2 Hunny Jar prompts because I don't think the purple should cancel that out. But it can be any genre. So again, if I can find one book that fulfills both prompts, I can just do one book. Otherwise, I will need to do 2. So the first prompt is, okay, This is the Lost City of Atlantis, I believe is that what it's called? And it is mystery element. I don't know if it's not focusing very well. There it goes. Mystery element. Then the second prompt will be, let's do this one. Oh. Okay, so we have Snow White, and it needs to be the number 7 rep. All right, real close to the end. So if we get a purple, a blue, or a black, we're done. Orange, we can move. Anything else has to go off to the side. So let's go ahead and swirl it here. And yellow, can't move. Next, this. Okay, orange, we can move. And so another mystery, thriller, or horror that fulfills the prompt of, let's do this one. Oh, okay, this is an interesting one. So this is Merida, and it's archery or arrow rep. All right, again, black, red, or blue, we're done. Anything else has to go off to the side. Let's see. Oh, nice. So we got a red. So that brings us to the North Pole. So again, it can be any genre, but it does need to fulfill the prompt. This one's standing up. Let's pull it. Okay. I wanted to cheat, but this is a bookworm and it's book talk pick. I no longer have TikTok, but we'll see what we can do. If I can just find a list that has popular book talk picks, I will use that. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out my books, and then I will be back to let you guys know. All right, I am back. I have my books picked out. I did have to not worry about genre a lot with these books. So this was definitely more focused on the Hunny Jar prompt this round. It's just kind of what worked. So of course, first we rolled Pooh Bear, which is to read either a classic or a comfort read. I'm going the classic route, and I had several options, but this is a book I've been wanting to read for quite a while now. I love the movie, and so I'm going to finally be reading The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and I'm really, really excited about that. It's a heroic story of friendship and belonging. No one ever said life was easy, but Ponyboy is pretty sure that he's got things figured out. He knows that he can count on his brothers, Derry and Soda Pop, and he knows that he can count on his friends, true friends who would do anything for him, like Johnny and Two-Bit. And when it comes to the Sox, a vicious gang of rich kids who enjoy beating up on the greasers like him and his friends, he knows that he can count on them for trouble. But one night, someone takes things too far, and Ponyboy's world is turned upside down. So I'm, like I said, really excited to finally get to this. I wanted to read it for a while, but just never have. And the movie is obviously a movie I saw a lot growing up, and I absolutely love the movie. So I'm hoping I will enjoy the book as well. Then let's see here. Then we did pull an orange, which is a mystery, thriller, or horror. Or no, where did my purple go? Sorry. Back up a little bit. I did not see the purple. We pulled a purple first, which was a completely free pick. I don't have to worry about genre, and this year I'm not pulling a Hunny Jar prompt for purple. So in this case, I went with one of the ones I pulled out of the series jar. So I added on The Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. This is the third and final book in the Scholomance trilogy, and I'm really excited to get to this. So the Scholomance, if you don't know, is basically the school for kids, magical kids, and it was initially created for these enclaves who are like, groups of people that like pool their mana and such to protect their kids. Only basically there's these monsters that are drawn and trying to get the mana from the kids in the world. And the kids are most at risk when they hit puberty, and so they go to this school, but the monsters have been drawn to that school as well, and so it's basically a life and death situation every day. They're in the school, and so they kind of opened up the school to all magical kids, kind of to act as fodder, so that their kids have a better chance of getting out of the school. And so this is the final book, and I'm excited to see where we're going from the events of the last book. So there is that. Then we pulled the orange, which again, mystery, thriller, or horror. And this one it was a special one, so it's Pooh or Christopher Robin to the next yellow. So that means since it's a special square, we were playing Pooh, so it counts for him. We could do any genre, so I did not have to follow the genre on this one. And this one, it was a bookworm and it's matches top, which as you can see I'm wearing. It's kind of like a purpley pink with a bunch of flowers all over it. It has some blue and some orange, white, purple. And so for this one, I'm going with my genre-a-thon pick. So genre-a-thon, of course, is my readathon, where we're focusing all year long. Each month we focus on a different genre or genre-adjacent prompt. And for May, the prompt is Cinco de Mayo, and is to read either a book in a different language from your primary language, or just a translated work if you don't speak another language. I don't speak another language, but I did find this book at a thrift store. There were several copies, and it's in both English and Spanish. So I'm going to be reading it. It is a kid's book, and that's Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors, illustrated by Brooke, Boynton, Hughes. And yeah, you can see the titles in English and then Spanish, and all the dialogue, you have the English and then the Spanish right next to it. So that's going to be really nice. And I'm kind of going with, you have all these flowers in the background, you have some blues and purples in the coat. And so I do think it kind of matches that flowery theme and the vibes of the different colors. So that's what I'm going to go with, because I'm just kind of interested in trying a book, and I like that this one, it's kids, so it's going to be a little simpler for me since I don't speak another language, and it has it both back to back. And I do know a little bit of Spanish. There is a lot of Spanish speakers where I live. Just the area in general has a lot of Spanish speaking people, and I do know a little bit from like school and such. So I do know a little bit. I don't speak it very well. I don't pronounce it very well. I can understand more than I can get out, but I think this will be kind of a fun little challenge. So there is that one. Then let's see here. Then we got a yellow, which is historical. And for this one, we got Alice in Wonderland, and we got the White Rabbit. So I was like, not quite sure. I was like, do I look for like a rabbit on a book? Like, what am I going to do? And I had several books that actually have white. I had a book called Whiteout. I don't remember who it's by. I had a book from, I think, Jennifer L. Armentrout, which was White Hot Kiss or something like that. But I've had this book sitting over there, and I really do want to read it. And so I'm going to go Betty White in person. And this one fits more the historical element. It was written in 1987. And, she's no longer with us now, and a big part of like television history and such. So I'm going to be reading this one, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So it says Betty White in person. America loves Betty White from her early days in television with her first show Life with Elizabeth to Password, through her mischievous years as Sue Ann Nevins on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and now as Rose on the delightful series The Golden Girls. She has been loved and lauded. Now at last, in this wonderful new book, we meet the real Betty White up close and personal. Gathered here are Betty's wit and wisdom, her observations and intuitions. In these pages, she looks forward and back and shares all that she sees. Somehow, Betty White has learned to take all that life can give and has found the best in every smallest part. The best in every smallest part. She recounts for us stories and adventures, and misadventures too, shared with many of her favorite friends. We read her warm and open thoughts about sex, grief, hope, friendship, and aging, and hear her familiar voice as she touches upon topics like enthusiasm, people watching, imagination, saving things, and believe it or not, things she hates. This book is a true gem. In these pages, we meet the woman behind the endearing celebrity and discover that they are one and the same. For years, audiences have identified and been attracted to that singular spark of energy and enthusiasm, that something that Betty White brings to every role and infuses into each of her marvelous characters. Now that unique quality provides inspiration for many more people as readers laugh, cry, and sigh right along with her. So, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for this one. Then let's see here. Then we got a blue, which of course is sci-fi. I don't think there's anything special. Nope. But I did not go the sci-fi route. And we got I Can Read ABC book. So basically I'll insert it here, but I did a spinner wheel, a letter spinner wheel, and I landed on L, and so the book needs to start with L. And for this one, I pulled off of my priority list, and so I didn't worry about. I don't have a whole lot of sci-fi, and I don't think I have any sci-fi that starts with L because I'm reading Leviathan Wakes in April. So anyway, I went with one of my priorities, so no sci-fi, but that's okay. And I'm going to be reading The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. I read The Lost Apothecary by this author, and one timeline was kind of hit, but I loved the other timeline, and this is one I've been interested in for a while as well. And so it says, a spellbinding tale about two daring women who hunt for truth and justice in the perilous art of conjuring the dead. 1873, at an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place. Led by acclaimed spiritualist Vaudeline de Allaire, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murdered victims. To ascertain the identities of the people who killed them, she is highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Leanna Wicks has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so, she must overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Leanna accompanies her as an understudy. With shared determination, the women find companionship that perhaps borders on something more, and as they team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive Seance Society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect they are not merely out to solve a crime, but perhaps entangle in one themselves. so yeah, I think I'm going to really enjoy this one just based on how I felt about The Lost Apothecary, and this seems more kind of up my alley. So there is that. Then let's see here. We got another orange, which is again mystery thriller horror. And this wasn't a special square or anything. And I got Rumpelstiltskin, which is a fairy tale retelling. And so this one I did not worry about the genre. And I was kind of struggling with this one. Like, I had some options, but I just wasn't filling them. And then I realized on my priority TBR list, I have In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, which is based on Pinocchio. So I'm like, perfect. Get another one off my priority TBR for the year. That will leave me, if I get everything read, I'll only have 3 books left for the rest of the year on the standalone. Obviously I'll still have my series to work on. But this one, I bought it when it first came out, and it's just been sitting there. I've never read a TJ Klune. Nothing has really pulled at me until this one. And so I'm really hoping I love this. But it says, TJ Klune invites you deep into the heart of a peculiar forest and on the extraordinary journey of a family assembled from spare parts. In a strange little home built into the branches of a grove of trees live 3 robots. Fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. Victor Lawson, a human, lives there too. They're a family, hidden and safe. Then one day Vic salvages and repairs an unfamiliar android labeled Hap, and he learns of a shared dark past between Hap and Geo, a past spent hunting humans. When Hap unwittingly alerts robots from Geo's former life to their whereabouts, the family is no longer hidden and safe. Geo is captured and taken back to his old laboratory in the city of Electric Dreams. So together, the rest of Vic's assembled family must journey across an unforgiving and otherworldly country to rescue Geo from decommissioning, or worse, reprogramming. Along the way to save Geo, amid conflicted feelings of betrayal and affection for Hap, Vic must decide for himself, can he accept love with strings attached? So, I think this is going to be so cute. And I'm really, really excited to finally get to this. It's been too long. Then we got another orange. It was definitely the month of oranges. And let's see here. This one didn't have anything special either. So we got Beauty and the Beast, and it was a close paternal relationship. And so for this one, I again ignored the mystery thriller horror route. And I just kind of looked for just Googled, books with a close paternal relationship. And this one popped up, and that is Wonder by, I think it's R.J. Palacio. Yeah, so Wonder by R.J. Palacio. This one I just picked up secondhand, so it doesn't have a dust jacket. But I am excited about it. I forget what it's about, but I think basically you have a 10-year-old kid. I don't know his name. But he has some kind of illness or something that he's working through. And so his father is very supportive and such. And so, yeah, I'll know more about it in my wrap up. I read what it was about, when I was looking to make sure, I had a father relationship, but it went in my brain and directly out. But I see this fairly often. I used to, when I did have a TikTok, I would watch Meet Me in the Media Center. And this book, she's a middle school librarian, and this book would come up frequently. And so it kind of got on my radar because of that. And I didn't specifically know what it was about, but I know it was beloved by her students. So I'm excited to give this a go as well. Then we got a black, and we moved forward to where did we move forward? To a purple square. So that kind of canceled because purple's supposed to be completely free. But with the black, we're supposed to pull 2 Hunny Jar prompts. So I didn't have to worry about genre on this, but I did need to pull 2 Hunny Jar prompts. And so first I pulled Velocity of Atlantis, and it was Mystery Element. And then I pulled Snow White, which was the number 7 rep. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find one book to fit both these prompts. Like, we'll just have to see. And so I was kind of just, thinking about it. And I looked at my priority list. And I have The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. Obviously, the number 7 there. And it is a mystery. It has a mystery element. So it says, at a masquerade ball thrown by her parents at their English country house, Evelyn Hardcastle will die. She will die every day until Aidan Bishop can identify who murdered her and stop the killer. At the beginning of each day, Aidan wakes up at Blackheath House in the body of a different guest of the gala he attended the night before, and some of those guests are more helpful than others. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a breathlessly inventive gothic mystery that follows one man's quest to find a killer within a mind-bending temporal loop where no one can be trusted and nothing is quite what it seems. So this was the perfect book for it. It's another one off my priority list, which makes me very, very happy. So this is a great month because I'm going to hopefully wrap up 2 series and get 3 of my priority reads off my list. So that's fantastic. And I read The Devil and the Dark Water by this author and really, really enjoyed it. And a lot of people talk about this one, and so I'm excited to give this one a go finally. Then let's see here. Then we pulled a yellow and we couldn't move, so that's 1 unusable disc, but we're not going to talk about that quite yet. And then we got an orange, which did allow us to move. So again, another mystery thriller horror. And this one needed to have archery or arrow rep, because it's Merida. And so this one I struggled a little bit. So again, I didn't worry about the genre. And this one I'm kind of tweaking. I picked Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is, let's see, the third one, so fourth book in the Throne of Glass, fourth/fifth. I've already read The Assassin's Blade, so it's the fifth book for me. But I'm counting it because her Heir of Fire, which I'm reading in April, she has the bow and arrow. So she is an assassin. She uses a lot of different tools of the trade. And kind of my rules is if a book in the series fits the prompt, I can go to the next book that I need to read. And since Heir of Fire fits the prompt, and it definitely, being an assassin and using different tools, definitely gives the right vibes. And I know in some of the other books she's used an arrow. So even though there's not like an arrow on the cover or anything, she uses bows and arrows in her trade. So I'm excited. Like I said, this is the fifth book I'm reading in the series, but basically you have Selena, and she's in prison, and she gets pulled out in the first book, she gets pulled out to compete to become the king's assassin, in which she'll be pardoned, but then she has to work for the king to assassinate people. And so that's kind of what we're following in the first book, and then it takes off from there, the rest of the series. And yeah, I'm really excited. I've been enjoying this so much, so I'm excited to continue. Like I said, I'm going to read Heir of Fire in April, and then I'll be able to jump right into Queen of Shadows. And this is one of the priority series for the year. And even though I haven't been pulling it, I've been working on this because, it's a longer series. I think there's 7 books in the main series, and plus the Assassin's Blade book. So yeah, that's gonna fulfill that prompt. Then we finally reached the North Pole by landing on red, but of course, because it's the North Pole, now does not need to be a romance. And we got a bookworm, and it was Book Talk pick. It doesn't want to focus on this one for whatever reason. So it was Book Talk pick, and I no longer have Book Talk. I don't have TikTok at all anymore. But I remember hearing something like this was a big Book Talk book, or series. And so I just double checked by Googling it and said yes. And so I'm going to be reading the second book in the Lightlark series, and I'm going to read Nightbane by Alex Astor. And yeah, this is a book I got for Christmas along with Lightlark, and so I was finally able to read Lightlark in March, and I definitely want to continue on with the series. And so since this worked, I'm slotting it in there. And so basically in this series, you have the island of Lightlark, and it like rises or gets unveiled, like it's surrounded by a storm for hundreds of years, 99 out of 100 years. And basically, at the centennial, the royalty can travel back to Lightlark, but there was a curse that happened, and so each of the 6 kingdoms have this different curse related to their kingdom. And so the leaders every centennial meet up, to try to figure out this curse, like the different clues and such and what it means. And then one of them needs to die, and one kingdom needs to die off in order to break this curse, is kind of what they figured out. And so that's kind of the premise of it. In the first one, we're following the main character, and she goes to this kingdom, and she's kind of competing with the other royals, and trying to keep her kingdom alive. And so I didn't think the writing was the best, but I had a really good time with the story itself. So I'm really excited to continue it. And I like it does have a romance, and I like that romance element in here. That's kind of a love triangle. And so I'm excited to see where we go. Hopefully, I don't think it will be better written, but hopefully it's just as enjoyable as the first one, even though it's not well written. We'll just have to see. And then I did have the one unusable disc. And so for that, this is my pick for Adventures in Aldea. I don't remember what it was. Let me look it up and I can tell you here because I don't remember. So for this one, I am going to 5B, which is to enter a cave and read a dystopia. And so for this one, I'm going to be reading Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And this is a standalone, so it works for the one disc. And so yeah, this one says, the night Arthur Leander has a heart attack on stage during a production of King Lear is also the night when a devastating flu pandemic arrives in the city, and within weeks, civilization as we know it comes to an end. 20 years later, Kirsten Raymond moves between the settlements of the altered world with a small troupe of actors and musicians. They call themselves the Traveling Symphony, and they have dedicated themselves to keeping the remnants of art and humanity alive. But when they arrive at St. Deborah by the water, they encounter a violet prophet who will threaten the tiny band's existence. And as the story takes off, moving back and forth in time and vividly depicting life before and after the pandemic, the strange twist of fate that connects them all will be revealed. So I'm excited. I've been wanting to try this author for a while, and I actually found The Sea of Tranquility by this author at a thrift store recently. So I also have that one. And I'm not sure how I'll get along with the pandemic element here, but we'll just have to see. So that one is for the one unusable disc. And then I was not able to slot in my other series pull, so it's just going to be an extra. Of course, that's the momentous events in the life of a cactus. And so this one is the second book, obviously. And we're following Avon, and she was born without arms, I think. So we're following her as she enters high school and kind of struggling with that, and people's judgments because she doesn't have arms and everything like that. So I'm really, really excited about reading this. Like I said, I haven't read the first one yet, but I'm going to. So I have a lot of series I'm just working on and working through, which has been a lot of fun. And I'm not going to pick up this stack because it's kind of awkward. But I do have 12 books, I think, is what it equaled out to. And so that's not terrible. Because, yeah, we got 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I do have my family book club pick, which I wasn't able to get on. So 13 with that one, which is funny because what's winning right now, and I'm sure it will run, is episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. So it's the 13th book on my TBR, which 13 is my lucky number. I love the number 13. And so, yeah, that will be fun. And that one is basically kind of have a reality TV show, like ghost hunting show. And they go to this institute where they did experiments, and it's also highly haunted, but something goes wrong, something goes awry, and so it's like found footage, mixed media, and you're following it. I've heard mixed things on it, but I personally think it's going to be one I love, and obviously the rest of my family thinks it sounds like fun, and so I think that's going to be a good one to read. So that's on there as well. And I don't know how many pages that is, but without that one, I'm looking about just over 4,000 pages, which I generally 5,000 to 6,000 pages. So this should be a very manageable month, which is great because April I have a lot of books because I'm doing Aurelium and I'm very ambitious, and my character is taking 3 different callings. And so I might have some rollovers is my point, but we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm super excited. I would love to know if you read any of these, your thoughts on them, if you did. Of course, no spoilers, just, whether you liked it or you didn't. Or if you're interested in reading any of these, I would love to know that down in the comments below, or a book you're just excited that you have coming up. If you don't know what to comment and you just want to help support the channel by commenting and let me know you are here, you can always leave a rabbit or any type of animal emoji down in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.